Hello, welcome to Study Circle. Today we are going to read Class 10th Standard Civics Chapter 4 Political Parties. This video is made only for revision purpose. So if you are preparing for any teaching exam, this video is very useful for you. So without wasting any much time, let's start. Political parties. In this chapter we will read about the nature and working of political parties. Why do we need political parties? Political parties are easily one of the most visible institutions in a democracy. For most ordinary citizens, democracy is equal to political parties. Political parties act as vehicles of federal sharing of political power and as negotiators of social divisions in the arena of democratic politics. They are easily one of the most visible institutions in a democracy. Political parties. It is a group of people who come together to contest election and hold power in the government. They agree on some policies and programs for the society with a view to promote the collective good. They try to persuade people that their policies are better than others. They seek to implement these policies by winning popular support through elections. They reflect fundamental political division in a society. Parties are about a part of the society and thus involve partisanship. Components of a political party are leaders, active members, and followers. Now, what is the function of a political party? Political parties fill political offices and exercise political power by performing a series of functions such as number 1 to contest elections. In most democracies, elections are fought mainly among the candidates put by the political parties. Secondly, to put forward different policies and programs. A party reduces a vast multitude of opinions into a few basic positions which it supports. A government is expected to base its policies on the line taken by the ruling party. To play a decisive role in lawmaking, formally, laws are debated and passed in the legislature, but since most of the members belong to a party and go by the direction of their party leadership. Next, to form and run the government. The big policy decisions are taken by political executive that comes from the political parties. Parties recruit leaders, train them, and then make them ministers to run the government in their own way. To provide voice for the different opinions, those parties that lose in the election play the role of opposition by voicing different views and criticizing government for its failures or wrong policies. Next, to shape public opinion. They raise and highlight issues. Many of the pressure groups are the extension of political parties among different sections of the society. They also launch movements for the resolution of problems faced by the people. To enable easy access to the public, for an ordinary citizen, it is easy to approach a local party leader than a government officer. Parties have to be responsive to people's needs and demands. Necessity of political parties. Situation without political parties. Every candidate in the election will be independent and no one will be able to make any promises to the people about any major policy changes. The government may be formed, but its utility will remain ever uncertain. Secondly, the elected representative will be accountable for their constituency for what they do in the locality, but no one will be responsible how the country will be run. So, there is a need for political parties. Emergence of the representative democracies. In a large society, need representative democracy. As societies become large and complex, they also needed some agency to gather different views on various issues and to present these to the government. They needed a mechanism to support or restrain the government, make policies, justify or oppose them. Now, what is party system? A party system is a concept concerning the system of government by political parties in a democratic country. It should vary from country to country. Evolution of the party system. A party system evolves over a long period of time. It depends on the nature of society, social and regional division, history of politics, and system of elections. Each country develops a party system that is conditioned by its special circumstances. For example, India has evolved a multi-party system because the social and geographical diversity in such a vast country is not easily absorbed by two or even three parties. Types of part system. One part system. When only one party is allowed to control and run the government, For example, in China, only the Communist Party is allowed to rule. Though legally people are free to form political parties, but it does not happen because the electoral system does not permit free competition for power. The drawback of one party system is that this is not a democratic option, as any democratic system must allow at least two parties to compete in election and provide a fair chance for the competing parties to come to power. Now, two-party system. In some countries, the power usually changes between two main political parties. Several other parties may exist, contest elections, and win a few seats in the national legislature, but only the two main parties have a serious chance of winning majority of seats to form the government. For example, USA, United Kingdom. Multi-party system. If several parties compete for power and more than two parties have a reasonable chance of coming to power either on their own strength or in alliance with others, for example, in India. Advantage of this multi-party system is that it allows a variety of interests and opinions to enjoy political representation. Disadvantage is that it often appears very messy and leads to political instability. Kinds of political parties in federal system. Parties that are present in only one of the federal units. Parties that are present in several or all units of federation. National parties. In India, there are some countrywide parties known as national parties. These parties have their units in various states, but by and large, all the units follow the same policies, programs, and strategy that is decided at the national level. Following are some procedures regarding political parties in India. Every party has to register with the Election Commission of India. It's called ECI. While the ECI treats all the parties equally, it offers some special facilities to large and established parties. They are given a unique symbol, and only the official candidates of that party can use that election symbol. Parties that get this privilege and some of other special facilities are recognized by the Election Commission for this purpose. That's why these parties are called recognized political parties. Condition laid down by the ECI to be as recognized party. A party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in an election to the Legislative Assembly of a state and wins at least two seats is recognized as a state party. A party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in Lok Sabha election or assembly election in 4 states and win at least 4 seats in Lok Sabha is recognized as national party. According to this classification, there were 7 recognized national parties in the country in 2018. National Party, All India Trinamool Congress, AITC. It's launched on 1st January 1998 under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, recognized as national party in 2016. The party symbol is flowers and grass. Bahujan Samaj Party. Bahujan Samaj Party formed in 1984 under the leadership of Kansi Ram. The party symbol is elephant. It seeks to represent and secure power for the Bahujan Samaj, which includes the Dalit and Adivasis, OBC and religious minorities. It draws inspiration from the ideas and teaching of Sahu Maharaj, Mahatma Phule, Periyar Ramaswamy Naikar, and Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Bharatiya Janata Party. Bharatiya Janata Party is founded by reviving the erstwhile Bharatiya Jan Sangh, formed by Syama Prasad Mukherjee in 1951. Bharatiya Janata Party wants to build a strong and modern India by drawing inspiration from his ancient culture and values and Deen Dayal Upadhyay's ideas, integral humanism and Antyodaya. Communist Party of India, that is CPI, formed in 1925, believes in Marxism, Leninism, secularism and democracy. It accepts parliamentary democracy as a means of promoting the interest of working class, farmers and the poor. Communist Party of India, that is Marxist, founded in 1964, believes in Marxism and Leninism, accept democratic election as useful and helpful means for securing the objective of socio-economic justice in India. Enjoy strong support and among the poor, factory workers, farmers, agricultural laborer and the intelligentsia. INC, that is Indian National Congress. It founded in 1885 and popularly known as the Congress Party, one of the oldest parties of the world. A centrist party, neither rightist nor leftist. It's its ideological orientation. Nationalist Congress Party, that is NCP, formed in 1999 following a split in the Congress Party. State parties. Other than these seven national parties, most of the major parties in the country are classified by the Election Commission as state parties. These are commonly referred to as regional parties. These parties need not to be regional in their ideology or outlook. Some of these parties are all India parties that happens to have succeeded only in some states. Journey of regional parties. As over the last 3 decades, the number and strength of regional parties has expanded. It has led to bring more diversity in the parliament. Since 1996, nearly every one of the state parties has got an opportunity to be a part of one or other national level coalition government. What are the issues with political parties? Firstly, lack of internal democracy within parties. All over the world, there is a tendency in political parties toward the concentration of power in one or two leaders at the tops. Parties do not keep membership registers, do not hold organizational meetings, and do not conduct internal elections regularly. Ordinary members of the party do not get sufficient information on what happens inside the party. Dynastic succession. Since most political parties do not practice open and transparent procedures for their functioning, there are very few ways for an ordinary worker to rise to the top in a party. In many parties, the top positions are always controlled by the members of one family. People who do not have adequate experience or popular support come to occupy position of the power. Now, the role of money and muscle power. Parties tend to use shortcuts to win elections. They tend to nominate those candidates who can raise lots of money. These people and companies who give funds to the parties tend to have influence on the policies and decision of the party. In some cases, parties support criminals who can win elections. Nextly, lack of meaningful choices to the voters. In recent years, there has been a decline in the ideological differences among parties in most parts of the world. For example, in India, the differences among all the major parties on the economic policies have reduced. Those who want really different policies have no option available to them. Steps undertaken to reform political parties. First, the Constitution Amendment. The Constitution was amended to prevent elected MLAs and MPs from changing parties, as many elected representatives were indulging in defection in order to become minister or for cash rewards. Now, the law says that if any MLA or MP changes parties, he or she will lose the seat in the legislature. But this has made any dissent even more difficult, as MPs and MLAs have to accept whatever the party leaders decide. Supreme Court or SC orders. SC passed an order to reduce the influence of money and criminals. It's made mandatory for every candidate who contests election to file affidavit giving details of his property and criminal cases pending against him. But there is no system of check if the information given by the candidate is true. Election Commission orders. It passed an order making it necessary for political parties to hold their organizational election and file their income tax returns. Though the parties have started doing so, but sometimes it's more formality. Measures to reform political parties. A law should be made to regulate the internal affairs of political parties. It should be made compulsory for political parties to maintain a register of its members, to follow its own constitution, to hold open election to the highest post, etc. It should be made mandatory for political parties to give a minimum number of tickets, about one-third, to women candidates. There should be state funding of election in the forms of kinds such as petrol, paper, telephone, etc., or in cash on the basis of the vote secured by the party in the last election. People can put pressure on political parties through petition, publicity, and agitation. If political parties feel that they would lose public support by not taking up reforms, they will become more serious about the reforms. Political parties can improve if those who want to improve the situation join political parties. The quality of democracy depends on the degree of public participation. Now, the interesting point of this chapter is that Election Commission of India has officially banned wall writing by parties during election times. More than 750 parties are registered with the Election Commission of India. So, this is the summary of this chapter. If you like this video, then please like, share, and subscribe.